First story: hurt, depressed, and having a hard time moving forward. My STBXW, 25F, and I, 26M, were together for almost 6 years, and would have been married 4 years come July and have a beautiful daughter together who turns 2 shortly after what would have been our anniversary. Because I'm going to post and hear about my issues, I'll come clean right away and say that I could have been better in some ways, one major one, but I always did my best for my wife and daughter. We met in college through some friends of ours and started dating really quickly. She was basically moved into my apartment 2 weeks into us dating, and even then I knew and told my closest friends that I was going to marry her one day. She was the love of my life, honest, funny, charming, sweet, loved children, understanding, and gorgeous. We were both going through a tough time, but she was always there for me and I for her. I helped her deal with trauma from a sexual assault before me. I helped pay for some of her schooling and exams even when I hardly had a dime because I saw it as me investing in my future. I loved her more than anything. She was my world and my home. A couple years in, I failed out of my program. She continued on with hers and ended up becoming a teacher, and this year was her first year teaching. I, on the other hand, went and enlisted in the Navy for their nuclear program. Shortly before boot camp, I thought about leaving her because I didn't know if she could handle the military wife life. And quite honestly, I was scared that I wouldn't be a good husband to her, especially after seeing how abusive my father was growing up. She sealed the deal for me that we should marry when she told me, "No matter what hurdles come our way, I'm not giving up on you. I've seen you at your lowest so far and I still want just you." She had seen me at my lowest at that point and I believed her, so before I left for boot camp we got married. Fast forward about a year, we were living together in housing on base and decided to start trying for a child. Our first attempt ended in a miscarriage that really hurt us both. She ended up becoming depressed, and so did I. That we saw a counselor on base. I was apprehensive about it before because my father was the son of a psychiatrist, and most of my childhood felt like a game of chess. It hurt me seeing her so hurt that I wanted to try just for her. They were so awful to both of us that I never wanted to go see another counselor again. Fast forward almost another year and we had our beautiful daughter. During the time before our daughter, we never really ever fought. In fact, most arguments were able to be solved in a long talk with each other, where we were able to see the other side and work on ourselves for the other. Following our daughter, I began to work more hours with longer days, 7 days on 2 days off as a part of my schooling. There were some days that I was up for 24+ hours, just so we could get things done like shopping or housework, and on top of that, just helping with the newborn. I always made the meals when I wasn't working. I would wake up at night when our daughter needed to be changed and fed, even when it wasn't my turn to do so, just to show support. I wanted to show as much support as I could because by this time, she had been diagnosed with postpartum depression and anxiety. I asked her to see a counselor for it, but she never did. I became more depressed and began to drink more. I was never abusive and was always able to help with our daughter, but I definitely drank more than I should. She had asked me to go see a therapist by this point, but after our earlier experience, and her not ever seeing one herself, I just didn't want to go. After schooling, I finally got my first duty station that we moved to about a year ago. It was then that the changes between us really started happening. We were no longer intimate, maybe once every couple months. Didn't really talk much and didn't take time to date each other anymore. It seemed like we were just going through the motions. Dad goes to work. Mom stays home and tries to supplement the income with online tutoring, and baby goes to daycare. Dad comes home. Mom does more online work. Dad makes dinner, gets baby cleaned and fed, all while Mom just works. Granted, having a daughter who was almost a year old by this time made it hard, and living off only my paycheck alone for a while was another challenge, but it always seemed like I was no longer a priority. It began to feel like she got exactly what she wanted from the marriage and was done with me. She got married, left Andy like she always wanted, had a child, but now all the interest was just gone. I tried voicing my concerns to her, but it was always met with, "I'm just tired," or "my hormones are affecting me," or just a simple social media video that she showed me. At this point, I became so frustrated with our marriage that I thought about infidelity myself. I never did anything. I felt so disgusted with myself that I brought this up to my wife and let her see all my accounts and my phone to prove it. She was hurt, of course. No one wants to ever hear that, but we agreed to try couples therapy. Every time I set up an appointment, her schedule, she was working at a school now, just never seemed to work. Same with weekend sessions. Shortly after this, I left for what ended up being a 6-month deployment. When I got time to call and send out emails, I always did. I always made sure to update her on what I did or what was happening when I could. For the first couple months, things were fine, but the emails got shorter, phone calls more apathetic, and she began to tell me she didn't know if she wanted to stay anymore. When this started happening, I asked if there was another man. She told me no. When I got home, she stated acting strange and distant to me. I chalked it off to just awkwardness that follows a spouse returning from a long deployment. The first couple days were great. It felt like my family was back together as it should have been. After that, she told me she didn't know if she wanted to keep things going. A few days later, she asked for divorce. A few days after that, she finally confessed that she had been seeing a co-worker of hers for a few months. Each one of those times we talked, I asked if there was another man, and each time she said no until the last. All during this time she kept going to his house late at night, into the early hours of the morning, and was just never home. When she finally confessed to me she had been cheating, it was after I scheduled a couples therapy session for us. She told me she didn't want to go because I didn't add value to her life, and that she was tired of trying. Since this point, I've filed for separation and started therapy to address my own issues. I have had to listen to her masturbate in the room we both would sleep in while I sleep on the couch. I have had to watch her get dressed up and dolled up to go see this other man, and seen her spend money from our joint account on dates with him. She hardly ever sees her own child anymore, and I'm usually the only person that takes care of her while she goes out. She still lives with me until July, and it's been so hard to start moving on. I know I messed up, but did I deserve all this? Do I deserve this pain? And for those of you out there that have finally moved on, when did you start to feel like yourself again? Update. Finally got admission of cheating, or as close as possible to it. So, today I asked my STBXW again her exact move-out date. Turns out it's at the beginning of July instead of July 15th as I was led to believe. I was getting really upset and frustrated because now I have to plan for an extra month that I thought I would have support with rent on a house that she renewed the lease for, year-long. 4 days before I flew home from a 6-month deployment. If you want more context, look at previous posts. Reason I was so upset is because now I have to find a roommate to help supplement my rent. And I'll have to look at pool of complete strangers, which is concerning because I have a 2-year-old that I'll have at home every other week. Well, she tried to blame shift me and accuse me of not planning ahead. Because I totally should have planned on my spouse cheating on me. I brought up the fact that she had been cheating on me for months and is still seeing AP. She countered with this, "I'm getting my shit taken care of despite everything. Don't act like you're the only person with feelings or that I was the only one had something to do with all of this." I was missing some level of admission of guilt or proof that she had been cheating the whole time. Now, I've got it. Can't wait to send this out to the in-laws after all this is done. While I'm not expecting them to take my side or anything, I actually want them to support her because she does need a support system as the mother of my child. I do want them to know that they aren't seeing their grandchild as much from here on out, not because of me, but because of her actions. It won't change the past, or really even the future that much, but at least it sets the record straight. Update. Would I be taking it a step too far? So you're probably wondering how I got here, and if you'd like to know, just look at my previous posts. But today the STBXW and I kinda got into it again over text over our daughter's childcare. I'm in the service, so I get assistance with childcare, and while I was on deployment, she handled it all and handled it before, because she made the account for it anyways since she wasn't working at the time. Anyways, she emailed me, then proceeded to text me about it even though we both got the same email. She felt the need to remind me that she's no longer responsible for handling it and that I need to take over now. I used words she's used on me before by saying, like I said, I have it taken care of. I know what I'm responsible for, you don't need to remind me. She then tells me, I sent a text rather than another email, relax, it's not that serious. We then went back and forth and I find out she already paid for her security deposit and first month's rent, but never took it out of our joint account, so I wouldn't know, and continued to waste some of the money before we split it. Again, if you'd like more context, go check previous posts. Since then, I've thought about getting really petty and even vindictive with her. I'm still a joint owner on a savings account that she has at my bank still, and I'm considering starting to transfer money from that account to my own personal savings to make up for the money she wasted on things that weren't related to her moving out like we agreed upon. I told her at one point that from here on out, unless it's about our daughter and her child care, to just talk to my lawyer, to which she said, that's not how this works. This is kind of turning more into a rant more than anything. But I want to know for BPs like myself who have already come out to the other side, if I followed through with this, and yes, I will get legal advice before I do, is this a step too far? And also, how did you manage to go no contact with the child involved, because I'm struggling with it at the moment. She moves out the 17th, but what are some things that you have done to protect yourself from your ex? Update. Resources for raising a daughter as a divorced dad? So, my divorce hasn't been finalized yet but will be soon. I was just wondering if anyone had any suggestions for resources on how to raise a child as a soon-to-be single father. My STBXW has a degree in early childhood education and has always shoved the research or knowledge she has from her degree in my face. While I do take most of what she says to heart and actually follow what she demands I do, because I don't have a degree like she does, I want to do my own homework and get my own base of knowledge, so if I disagree with her on something, I actually have something to stand on. Thank you in advance. Update. Should I tell her family? Just wanted to start by saying to everyone who's here, new and old, thank you for all the support through this time. You've really helped make this easier. If you'd like a backstory, please feel free to read my previous posts. But I'm kind of at a crossroads right now of what I should do. I'm back home visiting friends and family before I have to go back to where I live. I brought my daughter with me, and the in-laws asked to have my daughter for a day or two while I'm here. I said yes to them because I don't want to cut them out, even though she cut my family out for months. As the title suggests, I'm struggling to decide whether I should let something slip about STBXW's affair when they pick up my daughter or not. Also, since being here, I've seen people myself. Granted, divorce is almost finalized, she's the one who stepped out. And I've held out for a couple months before making the decision to get out there and decide whether I was ready to do so or not. Unfortunately, I can't help but feel a slight tinge of guilt too. Now I've stepped out from a marriage that hasn't even been annulled over paper. Am I just as bad as her? Wrestling with this at the moment and open to any and all criticism and advice. Update. First taste of what things will look like after she moves out. As always, if you would like context, recommend looking at previous posts. But this will serve as a little update to my previous post on whether or not I should tell STBXW's family about her affair. I still haven't. I really wanted to, but the conversation and time spent seeing her family made it feel wrong to bring it up. They're dropping off our daughter with me today before we fly back to Florida on Friday. If I get the chance or they ask why we're getting a divorce, I'll come out with it. If not, I'll wait till after the divorce and show them what I have from screenshots. Still wrestling with whether or not they'll care. They ask how my family is holding up with the process, but it seems weird to ask that and not ask why it's happening. Anyways, the past couple days have been rough. Without having my daughter around, I got an idea of what my life is going to look like after STBXW moves out. It's been empty, lonely, and I've been trying everything to get out of my own head. I've been listening to LACGAL on repeat, taking walks, talking to people. And yet I still get mad and frustrated with everything and feel the same depression I felt on D-Day, albeit not as intense. I was coming today to ask for those of you who have gone through divorce with children. What did you do to cope with the emptiness and loneliness when you didn't have your children around? Being by myself without my little girl has been dragging me down into the hole again, and I don't want to get stuck there like before. Update. Unfortunate late night thoughts. Before my rant, wanted to give a quick thank you to everyone in this subreddit for all the kind words and advice I've received throughout this process. If I hadn't been directed to this subreddit, I would be off far worse than I am now, so thank you to every single one of you so much. But tonight I went out with a couple friends and had a few drinks and started having some thoughts that really hit hard tonight, that I've even had over the past couple days. This is more or less what I told my therapist after going out. There was a gorgeous bartender and another attractive woman at the bar that I thought about hitting on, and yet, all I could think of was my STBXW. I wanted to text her and go off on her and tell her how upset I was. I wanted to think that by doing that it would undo everything. I'm not looking for reconciliation. But I wish there was a way I could just go back and re-experience all the good that was in this marriage all over again. I'm still pissed off and I hate her at this point, but there's that small part that still loves her. I thought about asking for a number and whatnot, and yet it still hurt to even do that. On this one, I'm not asking for advice, because reality is already know the answer. Let go and move on. But I just want that woman back. The woman I thought was gorgeous and willing to give everything to, I still want back. She never will, and likely was never there to begin with, but the lies that I had to tell myself to feel that way made it so real, and so worth holding on to that I want nothing more right now. Since being gone on vacation, it's been weird not having her ask me how my day has been and hearing how we miss each other and how excited we are to be back together. Most of me right now is anxious and depressed to get back to reality, and yet, a small part of me is excited just to see her even though everything is different. I've been trying to out-wrestle the passion we talked about previously with the pain, and yet passion is still winning out. I know it'll take time, but I just want my heart to finally accept what my mind has known for a long time. I know I'm not ready to date, but I really want to feel like I did before I met the STBXW, confident, steadfast, and mentally strong. Now, I'm finding myself feeling the exact opposite and crushed. To all of you out there who feel the same way, I'm sorry you've had to experience this, and I'm sorry whoever you were in love with and loved with everything couldn't even give you the bare minimum. I'm still not out of this, and I know that with time, this too shall pass, but I just feel like such an idiot and so weak to keep feeling like this. Update. She finally moved out, now left with a weird sense of withdrawal. Wednesday, she finally got her stuff out of the house we've been leasing. I made sure not to be at the house to watch it all unfold because I was afraid I would ask her to stay if I didn't. I went with a friend and replaced all the necessities I thought I would need only to come back to the house later and find I still needed more. Found she took just about everything: cookware, dinnerware, our daughter's clothes, our daughter's toys, etc., except for the couch that I've been sleeping on and my clothes, of course. When we talked about her moving out, Didn't get it on recording, I don't think, and our divorce is uncontested. She had told me she would leave some of the toys for our daughter, the dining table and a couple other things. Unfortunately, she kept her word to none of that, and I'm not sure why I was surprised to find that being the case. Since then, I've gotten a lot of help from friends who have gotten me stuff for my daughter without my knowledge, and I'll begin to start bringing them into the house, since I've been staying with them the past couple days. I know not everyone out there has an amazing support system like I do, and your faith in others has probably been shattered. But remember that there's still great people out there who do care about you and love you even when the person who was supposed to didn't. If it weren't for them, I would be a much worse mess than I am now, and don't be afraid to ask for help and open up to people about your problems. You'll find out quickly who you truly need in your life. Now to what my title is about. I was so upset about what I came home to that I finally stopped pain shopping and removed the STBXW from everything on social media and deleted every single photo possible. Granted, it's only been 2 days, but I've had a weird sense of withdrawal since. I want to go see if she's posting about self-improvement or manifesting better things or something about the AP. I haven't, but the desire to check or know is there. Has anyone else felt this way, or am I just crazy? Second story. I 43M. Just found out that my wife 43F is cheating on me with another married guy since almost 1 year. I have not confronted her as we are on a family trip, and I don't want to ruin and traumatize the holiday in our children's mind forever. How do I cope with her for another 2 weeks? So basically, she left her phone open and went for a shower. I went through it and found pics and messages which clearly show she is having sex with another guy, and even went on a trip with him. I've been shaking with rage and sadness and went outside to throw up. How do I cope with her for next 2 weeks? We were both looking forward to romantic dinners, cuddling and lots of sex while the kids are out on the beach. I really don't want the children to remember this holiday as one of their worst childhood memory. They are teenagers. Should I even tell them the real situation? If I don't, will they think I'm an asshole for ripping up the family? She will deny the sex part, blame it on me for not trusting her, will be okay for the divorce, and would also be okay for me to keep the kids while she retains plenty of visitation, etc. I've loved her so badly that I can't imagine ever seeing her face or listening to her voice after the pics and texts I've seen. They were degrading, vulgar, and obscene. She even told the guy she does not love me and just wants a no-strings-attached relation with him, and that he can use her any way he wants. She holds me to such high standards and then does this. For sure she will clear her phone out and I don't have its PIN. I can't go to any friend or family. Update. Thank you to all the people who messaged. I am beyond grateful to each and every one of you. Your kindness has given me hope and your advice has helped me calm down. I will be getting a lawyer tomorrow morning and proceeding from there onwards. Update. The mods locked the post for some reason. Thank Hi Owl. You have saved me from doing something rash. God bless you all. Update. She has figured out something is wrong. Now she is love bombing me, crying, weeping, holding me, telling me that I don't treat her well enough as a woman, that other non-working women are pampered more than her, that I don't talk to her enough, and that my family FKD up her brain 20 years ago. I haven't said anything about her affair, but she knows something in me has flipped. Also, I got to her phone again and she has cleared everything. Not a trace anymore. His name doesn't even show up in any of the apps. What am I to do? I'll repost in the infidelity group as suggested by someone because this post is locked. Update. Cross-posting from relationship GRP. So basically she left her phone open and went for a shower. Don't have her PIN since last 3 years. I went through it and found pics and messages which clearly show she is having sex with another guy, and even went on a trip with him. I've been shaking with rage and sadness and went outside to throw up. I tried to keep a poker face but I couldn't. The wife knows something is up. We were both looking forward to romantic dinners, cuddling and lots of sex while the kids are out on the beach. Since none of that is happening and I've been sleeping in the lobby, so she went from love bombing to aggro mode on me. I really don't want the children to remember this holiday as one of their worst childhood memory. They are teenagers. Yes, finally they will need to know. She will deny the sex part, blame it on me for not trusting her, will be okay for the divorce and would also be okay for me to keep the kids while she retains plenty of visitation, etc. I've loved her so badly that I can't imagine ever seeing her face or listening to her voice after the pics and texts I've seen. They were degrading, vulgar, and obscene. She even told the guy she does not love me and just wants a no-strings-attached relation with him, and that he can use her and move on and she would be okay with that. WTF. She holds me to such high standards and then does this. I don't have any family or friends who can share with. It's too humiliating for me. My life revolved around her. Progress over last few days. First she love-bombed me, wore nice dresses, pulled me to the room, told me she needs me, tried to have sex, crying, weeping, holding me, telling me that I don't treat her well enough as a woman, that other non-working women are pampered more than her, that I don't talk to her enough and that my family FKD up her brain 20 years ago, etc. All above failing, she is now on the offensive telling me what a horrible man I am, and that she does not want to be with me, that she will move out when we get back home. I don't make her feel like a woman and don't spoil her. Nice car, nice house, holidays, dinners, zero restrictions on her. Never fighting with her, etc. are considered as normal stuff that any husband does. I'm not perfect and not claiming to be, but she compares based on what other PPL tell, not based on actual facts. I got to her phone again and she has cleared it out. All that I saw is not there anymore. She even deleted his contact from all apps. Maybe there was more stuff or maybe there was someone else which I didn't even get to. She is keeping a very close eye on it and keeps it with her at all times. I haven't said anything about her affair yet, but she knows something in me has flipped. Not a trace anymore. His name doesn't even show up in any of the apps. What am I to do? I haven't slept, am actually sick now and my brain is pretty much fried. Mostly I'm just crying or zoned out, so please don't mind if I don't respond quickly. Please advise me what to do next. 20 years is long time, and as much as I hate her and what PPL will say, it's not easy to just cut her out of my life. How do I approach to confront her? Would having more proof help? Do I wait? Do I tell the kids? Third story. Need advice. Wife is talking to other people. My wife 37F and I 42M have been together for a little over 4 years. Married for 2 years. We have both been married previously. My ex cheated on me. Her ex was abusive. The one and only boundary I have set was please don't talk to other guys. I'm not saying she can't talk to guys, but in the sense of no dating sites. If you have to hide it, it's probably wrong. While I was deployed, November 2022, my wife was in a car accident and sustained a concussion. She wasn't able to work for about 6-9 months. During that time she went through a lot of depression because she didn't feel like herself. I was doing my best to take care of everything so she could heal and feel better. I was working full-time job, cooking, cleaning, taking care of her daughter and going to all of my wife's appointments. I got to the point where I was burning out. We would argue every now and then, but never really talked about any issues. I kept a lot of my feelings suppressed cause I wanted her to feel better. This past November, I noticed a change in her. She was always on her phone. We had more arguments, and our marriage started taking a nosedive. I suspected she was hiding things from me, call it gut intuition. She had her phone locked, whereas before, we both knew each other's passcode. So I know this is wrong, and the whole looking at your spouse's phone can be a later discussion. Yes, I guessed her passcode and I looked in her phone around deck. I found she was talking to multiple people via Snapchat, Google Voice, and probably other platforms. So I confronted her and turned into a big fight. She tried to deny and then blamed me for looking through her phone. During this time I also found out my dad was diagnosed with some lung disease. I'm a veteran and have PTSD. So at this point in my life, I felt everything crumbling down around me and started therapy. Therapy has really helped, but our marriage really hasn't gotten any better. I have asked her to go to therapy cause not only did she display trauma from the accident her bosses of an ex-husband was abusive physically and emotionally, she hasn't really dealt with all that trauma. Now I know she has been talking via chat but also making phone calls to other people. Don't ask how, I'm not dumb, plus I know how electronics and phones work. Once again I confronted her. Big fight. I told her it was making me feel. The only explanation I got was she created an account on a site. Not a dating one, but something I wasn't 100% comfortable with. And she said this is what she needed. I have tried to express how it makes me feel, but it seems to just make things worse. To a point I almost moved out, but she said she didn't want that. Granted, this is February time and the marriage has been a roller coaster from hello. But the end of May and June things seem to be getting better. So today I'm getting ready for work. I see her bag and there's an envelope that I gave her back in February. I took flowers, a card, and left them on her desk. So I was touched that she seemed to have kept it. Next to it I see a letter that she had handwritten, and I was curious. So I read it and a deep gut punch overcame me. She apparently has been still to other people. As I'm reading the note, she talked about stuff that started to put things into perspective. This person disappeared and stopped talking to her for a little while ago. And that made sense why she was so mean and angry to myself and her daughter in the beginning May. There were things that she has said to me when we first started talking. Plus the fact that she was expressing her feelings to this person. Something she doesn't really do with me. Once again I confronted her, and get the same line of lies. You are taking it out of context. I've never met this person. We just talk cause they are going through a really hard time like I am. And during all this, all I could think is WTH. What about me and everything I'm going through? You haven't been there for me. I have been busting my chops to make things better for you so you can sit on your phone and give somebody else your attention and energy. You have a loving husband and a daughter that want to be with you. Sorry this is long, and there is so much more. But if you made it this far, thank you. My wife has a lot of trauma from her childhood and ex-husband. She uses these sites to talk to people as an outlet cause she can't talk to me anymore, which does hurt and bother me. I know I'm not and have not been perfect. I am human, but I have acknowledged when I messed up and really try not to repeat. I took the things she hated about her ex and did the opposite. Like he didn't want to go to concerts or the beach or New York. I've done all those things with her and her daughter. He didn't spend time with them. I do. I understand boundaries are important. How do you use them when married? I don't believe in ultimatums. I don't want to just walk. I have an emotional attachment to her and her daughter. How do I show her she needs professional help? Fourth story. I found out that my friends want to sleep with my M24 wife, F24. How should I navigate this mess? I have a group of friends, ages 25, 25, 26, and 28, that I hang out with a lot. Things were fine until one of them told me they gossip behind my back about my wife, saying she's attractive and they'd like to fuck her. Some even talked about trying. Lately, they've been discussing cheating too, saying women often cheat without their husbands knowing. They mentioned a friend 28 who supposedly fucks other men while her husband works and pays the bills, trips, gifts, everything. This horrified me. I don't know this woman they talked about, and they didn't give any names or important details. I want to talk to my wife about this, but I don't know how. I can't just say, hey, my friends think you're hot and might want to fuck you. It's unsettling, especially since my wife once said two of them are good looking. She also said I'm the best looking and most fit among us, but now I'm unsure about that. Maybe I'm overthinking, but I don't know how to handle this without seeming insecure or making a mess. I don't want to seem like I don't trust my wife, but my friend's intentions are clear, and I don't know how she'll react. Our marriage is generally good, but this has me worried. My friends don't know I know about their gossip. I'm the only one married, and my wife is beautiful, but I've always valued her kindness and personality over her looks. Help. Update. My friends gossip about how attractive my wife is and talk about sleeping with her. They also discuss cheating among women. I want to talk to my wife about it, but don't know how without seeming insecure or making things awkward. My idea is to tell her that they have been talking very disrespectful things about her, and that we should cut contact with them. I won't lie to her, but I won't say the exact words out of fear she might become interested or not have a problem with their behavior. So according to some of you, if I tell her and she smiles, that means she's interested in fucking them? Thanks guys. That helped a lot. I figured out that I will tell her that other guys have been speaking very disrespectfully about her, and that we shouldn't hang out anymore with them. I won't lie, but I won't tell her exact words. Fifth story. Found out about my partner's 4-month affair with her dealer. I'm in a tough spot right now and could use some advice. I, 40M, recently found out that my partner, 43F, has been cheating on me with her dealer for the past 4 months. I discovered this accidentally when I tried to call a car rental agency from her phone and stumbled upon the messages. To give you some background, my partner is an ex-model who has had a coke addiction for 10 years. We've been fighting about this issue since I met her 4 years ago. Her addiction has been a constant source of tension between us. She used to run her own company, but due to her drug use, she couldn't handle the responsibilities and ended up having to sell it. I was very frustrated with how she was running her company and warned her multiple times about what would happen. Unfortunately, I ended up being right. The affair started when her AP found her stolen car and bought it from the kids that stole it and returned it to her for free. We live in a small town. This gesture apparently sparked their relationship. I travel a lot for work. I am away 2/3 weeks per month, although I'm back home every weekend. She thought I was cheating on her, but I never even kissed another woman since I met her. I've been aware of her continued drug use while she was supposed to be working, and it led to a lot of arguments between us. I must admit that I haven't always been nice to her because of my frustration with her addiction and its impact on our lives. For context, I also use coke occasionally at parties, but not to the extent that she does. To make things worse, we had a huge argument when I confronted her about the affair, and the neighbors called the police. I ended up being detained for 48 hours, although she told them I didn't do anything to her. Under local law regarding domestic violence, the police have the right to detain a suspect for up to 48 hours, even if the victim does not press charges, as they are required to investigate any potential threat thoroughly. This whole incident has put my job at risk. After I was released from the police, I left the house and moved in with my brother in a town nearby, about 40 minutes drive away. When I left, she attempted suicide that night, mixing alcohol, drugs, and medicine. The police had to break into the apartment. I had warned them that she had threatened to kill herself. I also informed her parents and best friend, but nobody believed her. She had made such threats many times before. She spent 48 hours in a coma but ended up being okay. I couldn't breathe for 48 hours. I have to say that I still feel guilty that she's struggling so much, and I don't know what to do. She has lost her company, her family doesn't want to support her anymore. I left her and she doesn't have many friends here. We've only seen each other a couple of times since I left her, and we had amazing sex. I do miss her every day, still, and I care about her well-being. Am I crazy? She constantly expresses how sorry she is. When we met, she broke down in tears, apologizing for what she's done. She writes me long messages, explaining how deeply she feels the guilt and how desperate she is to make things right. She sought therapy on her own to try and understand why she did what she did and to try to forgive herself. Her remorse seems genuine, but the pain and betrayal I feel are ruining my life. I'm feeling lost and unsure of what to do next. I still love her. Has anyone here been through something similar? How did you handle it? I need some guidance and support right now. Thank you for taking the time to read. Sixth story. I 28M have started to develop feelings for my ex GF28F, who cheated on me 4 years ago. I am posting from new account because I don't want my friends or family to learn about my feelings for my ex. Let's call her Emily. If this post doesn't belong here, then inform me, I will remove it. Me and Emily broke up in 2019 because she had a drunken ONS. She told me next day. I ended the relationship immediately. She had no hard feelings for me for ending the relationship. She understood why I was ending our relationship. She said that she would have broken up with me if I had a ONS. She didn't even ask for reconciliation. 2 months later, Emily called me and told me that she is pregnant and she had unprotected sex with me. I was skeptical given what she did. So I asked for a paternity test. She agreed and the results showed that yes, I am the father. I told Emily that I would give her the child support and I wanted to be involved in my child's life. A few weeks later, after the paternity test results came, she went back to our hometown to stay with her mother. I understood that she needed some support system, but I stayed back. I had a well-paying job here. Our child was born in February 2020. I was going to visit in April, but lockdown happened and I had to abandon my plans until December. Co-parenting with Emily was not difficult. I asked her in May 2020 that can I see my son through FaceTime, and she agreed. She never once complained. Even when I went back to our town, she never once showed negative emotions whenever I went to see my son. From what I heard from my family and friends, she was a good mother and always prioritizing our son. I also started dating a girl in December 2019. This relationship ended in January 2023 because she couldn't handle how much I was involved in my son's life. I was hurt emotionally. I ended up seeing a therapist. During this time I realized that I was not even doing bare minimum for my son. I was just paying child support, visiting my son during holidays and FaceTime 2-3 times a week. I was really shamed. I couldn't believe that I lost 3 years of my son's life. I promised myself to remedy this situation. I started giving interviews and got a job which offers WFH with increased pay. I shifted to my hometown in July 2023. I must say that life has been good to me. After working every day, I got to spend time with my son daily. He is such a lovely boy. It took time, but now we are like father-son duo. He even calls me dad. Coming back to my hometown was worth it. I am just happy that I came back before it was too late. With me being there, Emily gets free time. She also started doing a part-time WFH job. Emily also started seeing a therapist in early 2022. She stopped drinking completely since that ONS. She now has firm boundaries. She has changed herself completely. She seems like a new person. I thought that maybe she has started dating. I just wanted to know what type of men will be around my son. So, I asked around and found out that a couple of guys approached her, but she stopped their advances, stating that her current priority is her son. I noticed that my son used to look at kids who are with both sets of parents. I felt a pang in my heart after seeing what my son is missing. So, I started including Emily as much as I can in any activity I can with my son. After seeing what I was trying to do, Emily started doing the same. I don't know when or how, but me and Emily slowly started building something of our own, like a family of 3. I even stayed at her home sometimes, even helping in household works like washing dishes or sometimes doing laundry. We developed an emotional bond, even going out a couple of times. I started seeing her as a woman, and I can see that she is feeling the same. It's just our past holding us back. Both of us are unable to initiate things. But for a couple of days, I am thinking that it all started because I wanted to give my son the experience of both set of parents. Can it be true that my current feelings for Emily exists because of my desire to provide my son experience of both set of parents? Should I step back for some times? Or can my feeling for Emily be genuine? If it is genuine, then should I take a step forward? I posted this on a relationship subreddit, but got removed by Reddit and got the advice of co-parenting therapy and possible reconciliation. Should I take the first step? Tonight, after putting our son to bed, we are going to talk. It's high time to end this uncertainty. 7th story. Now what? This is the second affair, as far as I know. The first was several years ago. My wife lost her father, was sent to work hours from home and started a Naya, going by her word, with a co-worker. She later traveled to visit him halfway across the country, and when she came back she confessed. Now I thought there was a possibility that the only reason she was telling me was because he threatened to come clean when she tried to end it. She claimed it was not the case and that they barely had sex. She couldn't stand the act. He was smaller than me and she was stupid for ever liking him. She's actually stayed in contact with him. According to her, he was genuinely a friend. I told her she knows what she has to do. She knows that was wrong. She knows she has to go no contact. When her app started shit-talking me and trying to guilt her to run away with him, they finally broke all contact. The whole thing was awful for me and our family. My kids had to witness me a blubbering mess on the regular. And she was also incredibly depressed and self-hating. I thought that experience alone would put an end to this for good. I was wrong. But this time, having lost trust, I was able to find out on my own. And I know this time with the new guy, it was definitely more than once. Well, now it's my turn, and I'm going scorched earth. She opened up this marriage on her end, now I'm opening it on mine. In fact, that was what I discussed with her the first time. She tried to placate me and say that I should go sleep with someone after the first affair. Well, now I definitely am. And not just someone, but with everyone that I can. She doesn't know that I know yet, that I know when and where she was with him, when she visits him in parking lots or in some shady hotel. I'm so screwed up from all of this. I haven't slept in days. I am flooded with stress and exhausted in every way. And Ohio, yeah, right in the middle of all this, just prior to finding out about her affair, my father died. But, for some forked up reason, I still love her. And actually, these past months, she's been incredible with me. Passionate, loving, intimate. Part of me wonders if it's guilt or just a result of her feeding her addiction. In the end, I'm not going anywhere. If she wants to leave, that's on her, but I love her. I still love her so much. How? And my family and our beautiful children. Our marriage, it was irrevocably altered. Scarred and broken after the first time. This time, I'm not so weak, not blubbering like a child. I am stronger and I feel like now I have the power. Though I love her so much, I plan on laying the hell into her when I come clean. Like I said, scorched earth, I'm going to absolutely lay it all out. Let her know how stupid, greedy, selfish, idiotic she is. And then we will see. Will we stay together like we always promised we would and grow old in a different kind of marriage, or will she leave, unable to bear it like I had to? This was really hard to get out and I know what I wrote is kind of a mess, but I just needed to vent while I still struggle with this. 8th story. Just venting cause I'm just plain lost. I could go on forever, but my wife of 45 cheated on me. I'm 51 during 2020. For a few months during the end of 2020, with a married guy from our CrossFit gym. It was a very physical relationship. We're married 20 years this August 2nd, kids 17 and 19. I found out everything. Saw all text messages, pictures, plans, everything. She left her iPad signed in, so I saw it all. She had no clue I was watching. She denied everything, until proof was shown. I was planning a divorce, She begged and pleaded for me to stay, and I did. I told his wife everything. Now, a few years later, after things started to get better, she starts working at a different gym at night. And I found thousands of text messages to a new guy, who's one of the coaches also. She swears nothing is happening, all the coaches just text BS back and forth, but she lied about it. Again, she also picked him up in the morning before class, but lied about it. Said it was someone else until I told her someone saw him. I love her with all my heart, but I told her that I'm done. I can't keep this up. We will both be killed financially. Me way more than her, and the kids will be heartbroken. I've planned for financial freedom when retired, now I'll never be able to. Along with not having a place to live, how the hell do I do this?